G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Those of you familiar with my channel will be aware that up here I've been suffering from a bit of a drought and a lot of the trees have been turning brown and losing their leaves. Clearly not all of the trees, but enough to make it a bit of a worry. Wondering, are these trees dead for good, or will they sort of come back, kind of thing? Because even though the moss on the rocks has started to respond, just as has the grass, to the recent small but steady amounts of drizzly rain, a lot of these trees down on the driveway are not showing any signs of rejuvenation. And the same can be said here along the fence line. A mere 5 metres in from the fence line, and what do we see? What we see is new growth. This tree at least has decided that it is not yet dead. Doesn't look greatly healthy, but it's not dead yet. There's nothing coming out of the bark on this one, which is not surprising because it was already dead. Nothing coming out of the bark on this one either, which again isn't surprising because it has its roots in a deep enough crack that it hung onto its leaves. This little stringy bark, like its twin, are both revegetating themselves. Here, the dead leaves fallen out of the canopy have been hooked in the new leaves. Even these, which are fairly obviously a coppice on an old root ball, and they look in tragic state. Kept a few leaves on top, lost nearly everything. And they're both growing new leaves. So, who knows? Maybe, perhaps, possibly, bubbly? Could it be that the drought she is over, at least in the opinion of the trees who dropped all their leaves to shade their roots as their last ditch response to a succession of unusually warm winters featuring unusually high overnight minimum low temperatures. So instead of getting down to minus 10 or minus 15 degrees, it's been unusual to see minus 5. So the soil hasn't cooled down to the point where growth and metabolism pretty much stops in the winter, as it used to do for all of this vegetation. That's what it evolved expecting. So now there's not enough moisture in the soil profile to sustain 12 months a year worth of ongoing metabolic growth. Thus and because all of the trees have got their roots stuck into a shallow crack in the basalt dome, which sticks up out of the ground just about here, as you can see. Even the tea tree here lost its leaves and went dry. All of these were not expecting to have to find water to metabolise with during the winter months, because normally in winter it's too cold and summer is the wet season. However, I am pleased to announce that according to the trees on my place, the drought is apparently officially at an end. And as you can see, it's not just the stringy bark trees that have decided the long, hard, dry has finished. Even if you follow dead sticks like this back, look what we find. Signs of life. In the otherwise dead looking ruin of a drought-struck forest canopy. And of course, yes, the wattle is blooming too. While on the floor of the forest, green grass is starting to poke its way up through the 36 tonnes to the hectare carpet of leaves. So I suppose we have reason to hope that before the next lot of dry leaves falls, the ones on the ground might perhaps have enough moisture held in them by the grass growing up through them, and perhaps it might all compost down and become topsoil and cover up the rocks. It would appear that anything's possible. A lucky dip or an unlucky dip, nobody knows what's going to happen in this brave new world as humanity continues its exciting experiment in anthropogenic global warming. What will become of us? Nobody knows. That's why it's fun! Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.